We break into programming to bring you a live presser from the Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim speaking right now. Let's listen in.
This saw a huge reaction from the public opinion on this respect. On the following Thursday, I was surprised to receive a telephone call from our embassy in Washington to the effect that Mr. John Kerry is willing to speak to me. At 9:15 Thursday evening, he spoke to me over the phone after 2.5 years. It was a friendly talk. He said that the issue of chemical weapons is the headline in the international public opinion, and this matter should be explained through the immediate permission of the UN inspectors to head to Eastern Ghouta. I replied, Eastern Ghouta is a vast area. We have a national interest to have the truth established. He answered, yes, that's your interest. That's why I request you to allow the inspectors to head immediately to Eastern Ghouta. I said, I will work within the perimeters of the Syrian national interest. I will work on this issue. The call ended in a friendly fashion at about 9:25 minutes of the evening of Thursday. As a matter of fact, the UN inspection team was present in Damascus, yet they did not request to head to certain locations in Eastern Ghouta until Mrs. Kane came on Saturday morning at about 11 o'clock. Immediately, she requested to meet with Dr. Faisal Maqdad at 3 p.m. and this meeting was held. An official request from the UN was presented for the inspectors to visit and investigate certain locations in Eastern Ghouta. I met with Mrs. Kane and the head of the inspection team on Sunday at about 11 o'clock. They submitted to us requests for 4 locations they wish to inspect. We inquired why these particular 4s. Later we learned about a letter from the so-called coalition of opposition to the UN Security Council requesting to have these 4 locations inspected. The meeting did not last long. We agreed with Mrs. Kane to provide all assistance, facilities and cooperation, and also to ensure the security and protection to the inspection team headed to these locations. We reiterated that we are committed to maintaining the protection and security of the team within the government-held areas. They said they wish to head to the rebel-held areas. I informed them that this issue was raised with the U.S. Secretary of State, who said he had assurances from the armed groups. I asked him all the armed groups, and he replied in positive. I provided assurances to Mrs. Kane from the Syrian army. The team said they wanted to proceed on Monday. I said, we have no problem. I asked them, where do you wish to start? They said, in Ma'adamiyat al-Sham, near Damascus. We said, you are most welcome. Yesterday, they headed to Ma'adamiyat al-Sham, which is controlled by the Syrian army, and they had no problem at all. And when they wished to have access to the areas controlled by the armed groups, they were confronted with snipers' gunshot. One of their vehicles was hit, and they were forced to go back to the safe area under our control. They requested an extension of a ceasefire for 1 additional hour. We said there is no problem. They returned again to Ma'adamiyat Sham, where they spent 3 hours. They came back to the hotel safe and sound. We were informed by them yesterday evening that they wish to head to the second location. We said, we have no problem. We will take the same arrangements in the areas under our control. Your protection and safety are secured and guaranteed. Did you contact the other side? They said yes. Today, we were surprised to find out that they were not able to, simply for the reason that the armed groups there, they did not agree among themselves to provide assistance and ensure their protection. Their flight back is postponed till tomorrow. I am explaining all this to prove that the Syrian government is honoring all the pledges and commitments made by them. And I'm telling Mr. Kerry that we are not obstructing the work of the team. We provided assurances. However, the assurances given by the armed groups are fragile. They said you were late in dispatching the inspection team, and I simply reply. Kane came to me on Saturday, we agreed on Sunday, and on the following immediate, very Monday, they headed to Al-Ma'adamiyat al-Sham. We did not argue about the locations they wished to visit. We agreed on the spot. So, there is no delay on our part. However, we cannot tell simply to the team, go to Ghouta. It is a very wide, vast area. The locations and the timetable should have been agreed upon in advance. How can we be accused of delaying the work of the team while the team came 5 months later from the use of chemical weapons by armed groups in Khan al-Asal? 5 months late. We submitted our request on the 19th of March. They came only 1 week ago. The British Foreign Minister said that the Syrian forces removed all the traces and the aftermath of the chemical weapons. And to them we say, these traces are not removable simply for the reason that they are within the areas held by the armed groups. Secondly, the UN stated yesterday that it is still possible for the inspection team to document their investigation work in these areas. Therefore, the statement made by the British Foreign Minister is baseless and unfounded. He is willing to propagate false information to the public opinion. It was said that it was the Syrian forces that used the chemical agent. I categorically denied to Mr. Kerry. I reiterate, there is no single country in the world that may use a weapon of mass destruction against their own people. If those who are accusing our armed forces are in possession of any piece of evidence that we have used this chemical weapon, I dare them to bring it forward to the public opinion. The public opinion in the world must and should have access to any piece of evidence to this effect. What's important is that we are still committed to providing all assistance, cooperation and assurances to the UN team in order to honor what we agreed on Sunday last. We are all hearing the drums of war being beaten around us. If they are willing to launch an aggression or military act against Syria, I believe the pretext of chemical weapon is false, baseless and groundless. And as I said, I challenge, I dare them to produce any single piece of evidence. If they are willing to achieve other goals based on this aggression, we are pondering what these goals might be. The only possible logical answer, if this military campaign is meant to morally undermine our people, I believe they are mistaken. The people of Syria are united together with their armed forces and leadership, and this is what enabled us to endure throughout this crisis. We are prepared to confront the whole world. The armed groups infiltrating through the borderlines from 83 different nationalities across our borderline with Turkey, from many countries, including Djibouti. These are documented facts. Again, what are their goals, or what their goals might be? I believe that any act or action taken in this region is meant to serve the interest of Israel. Therefore, if any military campaign is launched against Syria, it is meant to serve Israelis' purposes. Secondly, it will, no doubt, serve the military purposes of Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Nusra Front. Therefore, the United States, together with its allies, are launching a military campaign against Syria, first to serve Israel's purposes, which they may take pride in, and secondly, to serve the interest of Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Nusra Front. If they falsely believe that the military strike being planned will undermine our military capabilities, currently in Eastern Ghouta, I confirm you that it will not at all. Our brave army is achieving progress in Eastern Ghouta. This is meant for two reasons: to undermine any preemptive strikes by them to the city of Damascus. Secondly, is to protect unsuspecting unarmed civilians from the terror of the shells falling on Jarmana or Al-Qassa neighborhood or any other suburbs within the city of Damascus. We wish to assure the residents of Damascus that our military operations in Ghouta is to provide protection to them and to ensure their safety. Therefore, our military operations will not cease. If it is meant to undermine our military achievements, they are mistaken. Again, what is this military campaign meant for? Do they think they will be able to break the bond between the people and the army? I assure you, they are mistaken. It is said that the White House has not decided yet. And the reason for this press conference is to bring forward to the American public opinion that what is propagated to them through their administration officials about the use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime is false, in whole or part. As a matter of fact, we dealt with the inspection team with absolute transparency and dedication in order to have the truth established. 2 days ago, the Turkish foreign minister stated that Turkey will be part of the coalition taking part in the military campaign against Syria, whether within or without the Security Council. I do not wish to comment on Dawood Oglu's statement simply because I am certain that the friendly people of Turkey will do the job. However, if the leadership of the Turkish administration has been shaken due to the incidents taking place in Egypt, this cannot resound or echo here in Syria. The last point I wish to make is the meeting of the 10 chiefs of staff in Jordan. I'm not aware whether or not the Israeli chief of staff was among them or not, simply because Israel has a special favor treatment with the U.S. as in case of any military campaign against Syria, Israel must take a step back. A while ago, a spokesman of the Jordanian government said Jordanian territories cannot be used for any military attack against Syria. This is quite natural and good matter. The people and government of Jordan have no interest in any military campaign against Syria. But those who are following the situation with me, over the past 2.5 years, we have been suffering from the problems flooding in through our borderline with Jordan. However, and despite all this, we did not do any harmful act against Jordan, simply because we are keen on with the mutual friendly interest between the people. It was said that the Patriot missiles will be launched. We laughed. Against who? We have nothing in mind against our fellow brothers in Syria. It was recently propagated that the Jordanian army is in military drills on how to confront chemical warfare. I'm telling the Jordanians, don't let others abuse our friendly relations. It is to the best interest of Jordan to remain on Syria's sides. The security of Jordan is interrelated with the security of Syria. It may be said that the meeting of the chiefs of staff was pre-scheduled. Why at this particular point of time? It could have been postponed. This is all what I wished to bring forward before you, including the facts that took place over the past few days. And I open the floor for questions, please.
You were just listening to the Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim speaking there. He spoke for about 20 minutes or so, explaining events in the lead-up to that attack on the UN chemical weapons experts team that is in Syria to investigate the alleged chemical weapons attack. He did say that the Syrian government honors all of its commitments, and in fact it is not obstructing the work of the chemical team. He also said that no country in the world would use chemical weapons against its own people, and the Syrian government is committed to providing assurances to that investigation that is taking place, which, by the way, he did say is now postponed until Wednesday. And Walid al-Muallim also challenged and dared anyone to produce any piece of evidence that the government, the Syrian government, did in fact attack Syrians in that alleged chemical weapons attack. And one of the most important points as well Walid al-Muallim made was that referring to what he called the drums of war that are beating right now from the international community, he did say that if any military campaign was launched against Syria, it will serve the interests of Israel, Israel's purposes, and those of armed groups like Al-Nusra Front. So that's just a bit of what was going on right now during that press conference with the Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim. Let's get reaction, in fact, to